You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Item 7, discuss, consider, and take action regarding the appointment of the city fire marshal. I would defer that item 6 and item 7 go together, and if we could just carry that one as well.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Rowland?
I move that we move item number 7, discuss and consider take action regarding the appointment of the city fire marshal to our July 9th agenda.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Item 7, discuss, consider, and take action regarding the appointment of a city fire marshal. Be carried over to our July 9th meeting. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 8, discuss, consider, and take action to appoint city council members to the Ordinance Committee, Beautification Committee, Flood Committee, Waller County Sub-Regional Planning Committee, and Emergency Committee. Councilman Jones, you asked that the item that I had be carried over, so you want to address what you have in mind with these appointments?
Yes, sir. Since it is our duty to serve, I thought it would be quite compelling if each one of us said and was a part of a committee. So these was the 5 committees which that I can think of so far. I know myself, I would like to be on the beautification committee, and if it's okay with Council Member Ms. Williams, since she already worked with the ordinance, and she was over the ordinance committee, and then so on.
Councilman he's on the Waller County Sub-Regional Planning already. Between Councilman Wallace, I don't know if you want to do flood. I'll do emergency.
How do you feel?
Yeah, Councilman Randall.
I mean, because I think what we should do is, I think we should just send an email to the mayor, telling them what committee you want, because it has to come to an appointment, so it has to be on the agenda.
Yeah.
So just email him what the committee you want to be on. That way you can put it on the agenda with your name.
Would we want to talk about that? Because the issue would be wanting to serve. We need more people. Do we serve, and are we serving on one committee or 2 committees? And if we have an opportunity, not that we have to vote on this, but to give recommendations to the mayor to say, hey, I may want to serve on these 2. Make sure we only have no more than 2 on each of the committees if the mayor wants that. And so I know we at least could be on 1, but do we want to be on 2 or do we want to stick to 1?
I don't know if that's, well, right now that's not an issue that's presented. So I feel like once we all send our emails, if you want to send in, multiple committees that you want to be on, when they come back, we can discuss, how we want to move forward with it from there, and then we can actually take action on it, instead of because we have to, when we make appointments, you have to be specific with names, and it has to be listed on the agenda for open record. So I think that's how we need to go forward. That if you accept that.
Yeah, and I would think with one caveat is that if you would, since it's going to go, like you said, directly to the agenda, let's forward those to Ms. Dickey, so as she pulls it off, it's being utilized and added to the next agenda as we go forward, just for coordinating purposes.
I was going to suggest the CC Ms. Dickey.
Yeah, no, since she handles that for the city, it will be helpful, and certainly.
You all right with that, Councilman Jones?
Yes, sir. So
No action on item 8.
Okay, item 9, discuss, consider, and take action to record and/or broadcast city council meetings. Councilman Jones.
I think it's a cool idea in which each meeting is recorded and things of that such. We've been receiving letters from citizens asking if they can be posted online and things of that such. I think it'd be quite cool to start talking to one of the interns at the back and starting a YouTube channel.
Social media, right? And like Twitter accounts and stuff?
What you talked about with the YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's updated.
Right,
it's updated.
What's the YouTube channel?
Is it the city one? Is it a city? What is the?
I had named it City of Prairie, so that'll be easy to find. So just type that in, and then all the videos should come up.
On YouTube?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and then you have to click on video to get it also, because it comes up and it looks like it's blank. You have to make sure that you click on videos to get to it, but they are all there.
All right, so are they as well posted on the website?
I'm just happen to be looking at them now.
So a link is on the website.
Now, I can put the link on the website.
Actually, well, yes, too. And then Judge told me that she actually put a link on the website. I don't know if it's on the homepage or at the bottom, but she mentioned that it's there. So that when people go to the homepage, they can click on it and go straight to the YouTube channel.
But I'm looking at meetings all the way back to 2014, and they're there.
Yeah, so in other words, we've been doing that for a while. Okay.
In the letter, they was not showing it for people to be able to watch. So, I mean, even though they perhaps are there, citizens wasn't able to watch. And another thing, could we please move the meeting forward without insulting one another? Okay, if it was already there, then it was cool that she was able to up-to-date it to fix it, so that way citizens could be able to see it. Then we could just keep the meeting moving and flowing, instead of one of us always combating with another with extra. It just don't help the citizens, and it just don't look good as a city.
I agree, Councilman Jones. And if you stop doing it, it'd be a lot easier for me to stop doing it, so no problem. All I said was, she said 2014, and you just got on the council a year ago.
I don't play in the Congress.
Go ahead.
You go by yourself.
Well, it's understandable. Go ahead, Councilman.
I just want to thank Ms. Dickey and our great team of interns for the work that y'all are doing as far as getting the meetings recorded, and for you getting them up there on request.
Right, and we do apologize. Some of it was because she is a student, so she is a full-time student. She just graduated. We thank. Awesome. So part of that was her full schedule.
And we also understand about the issues that we have with our internet, and I'm sure that's something that's going to be a discussion as we begin our
Very much so.
Our budget cycle comes forward.
Very much so.
I'm sure when we can alleviate that problem, the transition will be more smooth. So I just want to thank y'all.
Okay, item 10, discuss, consider, and take action to make correctional changes to section 1.502 of the Code of Ordinances. Councilman Jones' item, but I think you had Counselor check on something, and you've been updating them, so if there's something else Councilman Jones wants to add to that.
So I was asked to, the way the Code of Ordinances currently reads is that you are supposed to be meeting on the fourth Tuesday of the month, except for November and December, which you're clearly not. So I'm just updating your ordinances to reflect how you all are currently meeting. That was just one change that I made to get that one up and running. There are other changes within the way that the meetings are noticed and called, and special meetings that are not in compliance with the new charter provision. Your charter will certainly control, but we may want to just update this at some point as well, and I can have that prepared for the next meeting as well.
And for the benefit of council, would you share with them, if you can remember, as we're addressing the issue, how many of our ordinances were either not there, outdated,
Like Ms. Dickey and I sat down tonight and have a list of, police chief has an address ordinance right, chief, that we need to get on the agenda. I haven't forgotten about you. Yeah, I haven't forgotten about you. We have a curfew ordinance that's outdated, junk vehicle ordinance, this ordinance. Utility,
I just wanted to council to again know that there's a lot of stuff taking place. It doesn't all come out at the council meeting, but it's vast. Ms. Hayes had been addressing council meetings, council ordinances and things like that, and it's just a very costly legal process, so we've been addressing them as they come up, and you've been keeping us updated, and that's been appreciated. Yes.
I just wanted to touch on that really quick because Councilwoman Hearn is in the audience. She can attest that about 2 years ago we were in the process of we were going to have a big time ordinance workshop. We were going to go in before, and then shortly after that, Leah Hayes transitioned out, and then you were elected in, and so it kind of just. So one thing Attorney Hayes really harped on when she was here was that we had quite a bit of ordinances that were outdated. So
And we're bringing some, I mean, we've got a substandard ordinance that is done and coming to you, so that'll be at the next meeting, Mayor, when it's ready to go. And other ordinance, we have a list that we're keeping, that we keep track of, but it's, again, it's cost as well.
Sure. Councilman Rowland.
One, on item number 10, I want to formally thank Councilman Jones for helping us to identify this current ordinance. And I would make the motion, I would move to adopt the necessary changes for section 1.502 for regular meetings of our ordinances.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we take action to make correctional changes to section 1.502 of the Code of Ordinances. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Already. All right, so Attorney, I know that like last meeting, me and Ms. Diggs was talking about like several of the job description and things. That's it. I know it is you guys' duty in which like you guys do this, but if our job is to read and then we see some corrections, like we continue to send them to you so that way it can add to the long list in which you guys have, so that way we'll be up to date and on the response in which to move forward.
Yes, and I think you should copy the mayor as well, so he knows what projects I'm being assigned to work on as well, and when they go on agendas or don't go on agendas.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And now we'll revert up, if you will. Yes.
So my understanding is on this ordinance on the bottom of that, where it was gonna say updated and the date, so we want to is that what I'm thinking is gonna happen on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It'll make it easier for us to track our changes.
Well, fortunately, our guest speaker this evening is a sitting, longtime mayor himself, and nothing that we've shared or did in our tiredness or our zest to improve things are new to Mayor Eugene Grant. But his smart city information and how far along they move is something that we talked about when I happened to be up that way with the National Science Foundation grant review, and he volunteered, and I appreciate it, to come down and share with us some of where Seat Pleasant, Maryland is, and basically where we can go along that process. Mayor Grant, please come forward. Let's give him
Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the council, staff, and residents here of this great city, thank you so very much for the opportunity to come before you this evening. God is still good,
all the time.
and He is certainly worthy of all of the praises that we can give Him. And we're thankful that He allowed us to get up out of our beds this morning, the blood running yet warm within our veins, the right uses of our faculties and limbs, and we might be able to serve the residents here in the United States of America. So this is so great. And I thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the invitation, and I thank this council for the opportunity extended to me to share some information with you this evening. Before I start, we had done some research, and we knew there were a lot of young people on the council. But it certainly did my heart very glad when I sat here on this front row and saw so many young, vibrant, energetic people on this city council and moving the agenda of the people forward. And I applaud the residents for electing these young people. And I applaud the staff and all who are working with these young people as they are being successful in their endeavors. It's important to me, having my background run a youth organization, and there's 157 municipalities in the state of Maryland, and I appointed the youngest chief of police at the age of 27. 29 this year, but a couple of years ago, 27 years of age. Public engagement director, she was 26. Very pro young people. And we want to see that. Now, my city administrator, on the other hand, she's a little older, a little age, but that wisdom to help guide and direct them. But to see these young people in those leadership roles is just very rewarding to me. And Mr. Mayor, I know you're happy to have these young people with you on this council. There's always going to be moments we disagree. I mean, we're supposed to disagree. Not supposed to always agree on every issue. That's where challenge comes in. And through that challenge and that friction comes heat. And once that heat is there, then now something can get cooking and something can happen. And that's what's happening in this fair city. I will try my best not to be long because I know we've been here for some time, but we put together a presentation. I acknowledge my executive assistant, Anthony Coleman, he's over here, for traveling with me, and I think this is his first trip with me, so we'll see how it happens. When we get back, we fly out to Kansas, meet with the mayor in Kansas City in the morning, and then Wednesday we go to Dallas. We have several meetings in Dallas. So we made a whirlwind of a trip here. But this city was very important to me, as your former mayor, Mayor Jackson, and I come to know one another in Haiti at a conference, and some of the things that he was talking about and working with the university and the city seemed to be quite interesting. And I had promised that I would come and visit, and had not had the opportunity to do so, but praise be to God, we are here today. There is a phenomenon, if you will, that is occurring around the world in reference to smart cities. The President of India is establishing 100 cities to be smart cities. Japan is moving light speeds and lightning speeds, moving the country of Japan forward. China, my last visit in China, they are moving in rapid pace. The United States is considerably behind. And one of the reasons that I believe that we're somewhat behind is that the elected officials are not leading the discussion about smart cities. But it's actually the IoT companies, Internet of Things, those companies that are actually leading the discussion. And so I would caution this council and mayor that as you move in this direction, if that is your choice, to make certain that you're leading the discussion and that you're not allowing someone else who's pushing a particular product in your direction. And I'll give you a quick example. There is no ubiquitous understanding or definition of smart city. Everyone has a difference. So the Smart Cities Council has a definition. But Siemens has a definition. Johnson Controls, Amazon, Microsoft. All these companies have varying definitions, and we have ours, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But most of these companies are pushing a particular product that they want individuals to use or cities to use. And so these cities have to have some restraint and not get excited about bells and whistles of some technology that exists, because we all get excited about the latest iPhone that may come out or something of that nature, but it doesn't mean that it's actually meeting your specific needs. So for example, police departments are using ShotSpotter, which is a gun detection service that last year I was at a conference, many of those cities now are canceling their subscriptions because the product is not actually giving them what they thought they were going to receive. And so I caution us as we move forward that as you do your analysis in determining what sensors you want brought into your city, what data you want collected, what data you want to be analyzed to help you drive decisions that are necessary for the taxpayers of this fair city, don't get caught up into the sexiness of a product. A lot has been written lately about the future of innovation including Steve Case's book, The Third Wave. And I would recommend that if you get a chance, each of you get that book, The Third Wave by Steve Case, who is the founder, as you know, of America Online. And the first wave, you know, is the advent of the internet. And of course, we know an African American was the major component of bringing the internet into fruition. The second wave was the Internet of Things. This is where your Googles, your Yahoos, your Facebooks, and all of those companies come into play. It was the ramp onto the internet. But now this third wave discussion is the Internet of Everything, and about connectivity where everything is connected. The common thing among them is that the greatest opportunities for innovation, Mr. Mayor, the emerging era are in applying technology to solve human problems like social injustice, poverty, and healthcare. A quote from the Harvard Business Review sums this up succinctly, and it reads, "In the next few decades, much of innovation's value will shift away from applications and back to solving fundamental problems." So that you get an idea of who we are, the city of Seat Pleasant is a small community outside of Washington, D.C. So, Councilman Randall, thank you for coming to Baltimore and to our great state, and congratulations to you, sir. Established in 1931, and I've been serving as its mayor since 2004. We share many similarities. While your population is around 5,000 to 6,000 persons, we are just under 5,000 in population. We're both in the shadows of a major metropolis. I'm right in the shadows of our nation's capital, and you're in the shadows of Houston. So there are some similarities here that as we move forward and have our future discussions, you know, we can cry on one another's shoulders, because many of the large cities assume a lot of the attention and get a lot of the resources that go in their areas. And many of the cities in the United States, look, there are over 19,000 cities in the United States. 80% of them have populations of 10,000 or less, but 60% have populations of 5,000 or less, according to the National League of Cities. So we have a lot in common, and there is opportunity there. Our system is broken. Two unfortunate tragedies occurred in our city. To give you an idea of why the smart city is important to us, among many other reasons that we can list. We had a vacant housing problem in the city, and you'll hear me talk about it later, where two homeless people were going in and trying to stay warm. They lit a fire. Unfortunately, it consumed the entire building, and the two of them were burned in that fire. On two separate occasions, we had senior citizens in our city, both of whom expired and had been living in, or had been dead in their home for 4 to 5 days, and no one knew anything about it. Again, you'll hear us talk about why smart city is important, and why this is a solution, one of the solutions that we all can begin using in our community. Our senior citizens are very important to us. They're our grandmothers, grandfathers, our great uncles, etc. They can't do as much as they used to do, but they still should be able to age in place gracefully in their places of residence that they've worked so hard over their life to amass. What was the root cause of this situation? As we began to investigate these two tragedies and examine the root cause, we found that the main problem was the lack of connectivity. And so I want you to think about that in terms of smart cities. It's about connectivity. But connectivity not necessarily in the sense of technology, but as human beings, we should be better connected with one another. Technology is just a facilitator to help make that occur. For example, we didn't know how big of a vacant housing problem that we had. Vacant housing was putting a strain on our city resources. For example, we had a vacant property that was responsible for 10% of all criminal arrests in our city. 10% of all criminal arrests. And also, we cannot forget about how often we have to send public works crews to board up vacant properties, cut grass, etc., etc. That is a cost to taxpayers. We also need to do a better job of understanding and addressing our citizens' needs. Our solution must address several areas, connectivity, and it must improve the quality of life for our residents. Our transformation into a smart city must connect our government, must connect our residents, and must connect our businesses, particularly as we move forward in providing services to everyone in the community. The smart city transformation must connect the city's 3 constituency groups, as I mentioned, and it must provide value and have a positive, meaningful impact. And it must promote social justice, inclusion, equity, and economic empowerment for all of her residents. The answer, and I'm going to kind of move through this relatively quickly because the hour is getting late. The answer for us is a VIP approach. We all know VIP, very important person. Our goal is to help cities become very important cities that provides value, impact, and partnerships. And if you kind of remember that thematic throughout this presentation, that's the direction that we're going. That the residents of this city, Prairie View, are very important people. And in order for them to make certain that they're receiving the best services, we want to make certain whatever we do for them brings value, that there is an impact, and that we're forging partnerships with as many institutions and organizations that we most possibly can to save on taxpayer dollars. Challenges, cities are an integral part, as you all know, to the fabric of our society. At their best, cities have enabled people to advance socially and economically. However, cities are facing new challenges caused by several forces that threaten their sustainability. Cities, as we will see through this slide here, are facing immense pressure due to declining budgets. We should know something about that. Aging infrastructure, and operations that are growing in complexity. Still, city leaders are expected to deliver quality services, safety, and economic vitality. And citizens demand and expect transparency, convenience, and prosperity for all of her people. A study by the McKinsey Consulting Group found that citizens' satisfaction with government was less than half of that with non-governmental organizations such as banks, utilities, retailers. In other words, cities must change the way we do business. Why must we change the way we do business? Because we are not able to attract investment dollars in our communities. Throughout the United States, 75% of investment capital is going to 3 jurisdictions: California, Boston, and New York. But even more specifically, Boston, Massachusetts, New York City, so it's not all of New York, it's not all of Massachusetts, and Silicon Valley in California. And so this 75% of venture capital is going to all of these jurisdictions, but for whatever reason, we're having a challenge of them coming in to small communities throughout the United States. Only 10% of investment capital go to women. Only 10%. And only 3% go to African Americans. With this stark reality, we must find our own ways to empower our residents and our businesses. Cities produce 80% of our nation's GDP. Many cities have turned to technology to address. According to the World Bank, cities produce this 80% of the GDP. Thus, it is critical that we find innovative ways to address these challenges for the overall well-being of the nation. And we believe that smart cities transformation is key to addressing these challenges. Many cities have turned to technology to attempt to address these challenges, and although their efforts are well-intentioned, too often they are ineffective for several reasons. Lack of effective strategy, lack of accurate productivity measures, and lack of interoperability. The lack of these strategies is causing silos in each of these communities and to leading to inconsistent or even contradictory missions. A lack of accurate productivity measures leading to inefficient government and services and difficulty assessing returns on investments. And the implementation of technological solutions that lack interoperability. This fragmentation undermines collaboration as it inhibits the effective sharing of best practices, leading to only incremental rather than disruptive growth and innovation. C-Pleasant, our smart city transformation, promotes interoperability and cohesion across all domains, making us an authentic smart city equipped to handle these challenges. Our current versus the future state. A disconnected city is what most cities are currently. We are disconnected. They're siloed, meaning if you have the police department that's collecting data, only the police department is reviewing that data and not other departments. If your code enforcement or your public works or your water, only each of those entities are looking at that data, which is not smart. All departments should have access to this data, and it should not be siloed. Hungry for resources, short-term solutions, lack of communication, etc., etc. The goal is to move to a connected, smart city. In summary, the challenges facing cities come down to connectivity, or the lack thereof. In their current unconnected state, cities are siloed, hungry for resource, implement short-term solutions, as I mentioned. But on the other hand, a connected city is interoperable and cohesive. It includes a shared service hub, which we will talk about later, that allows government departments, as well as citizens and businesses to collaborate and share data. And so, for example, the debate that you all had a little earlier about some of the plans that are there, in a smart city, residents would have access to all of that data. Everything is transparent, everything is open to every resident, and every resident can be involved in that process. That's what we want to achieve to ensure that we democratize democracy. Value. Our solution creates value. Our smart city transformation addresses these challenges. At the core of our solution is our connected government solution. It empowers elected officials, employees, residents, and businesses to partner together. Our shared service hub is an operational data platform that delivers the right information to the right departments at the right time. The connected government solution allows us to provide personalized city services for our citizens rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. And the benefits of the CGS are succinctly summed up in our